coming from all the leading protocols in the space, issuers, from every asset, from stablecoins all the way to things more esoteric like IP rights. Just want to say thanks to the commission here, and it's very encouraging to hear the words that we heard earlier from the various commissioners with the balance that they espoused in those words. So excitement, and hearing Commissioner Peirce say words like composability and interoperability, while the balance from the tone that Commissioner Crenshaw struck. I've been in the space since 2013. And if you told me that I'd be sitting on this panel today back then, I probably would have bought more.
Wow, what an intro. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another CYPRX video breakdown where TradFi and DeFi meet. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up your seatbelts because I'm going to continue to show you undeniable proof that we are seeing a massive transformation of the financial system, and DeFi is going to play a major role in it. We are entering into an era where we are not going to have to sell our digital assets, and instead we can turn these idle digital assets into yield-bearing, passive income generating assets. Wow, this video breakdown is going to absolutely blow your mind. So just hearing what this gentleman said, this is Johnny Ryan something. I can't see his last name. Sorry if I butchered that. Long story short, this is the SEC Task Force Roundtable that took place just the other day. I streamed it live on X. The fact that he specifically said in front of the whole entire SEC commission right there, and all of these other regulators and individuals that probably attended this event, that back in 2013, he wished he would have bought more if he knew in the future he would be sitting on this DeFi TradFi roundtable meeting, is absolutely insane, and just goes to prove my point that this is happening at a very rapid pace, and you all need to be paying attention, educating yourselves in the now as to how to get your digital assets working for you, regardless if you are, risk adverse enough to take the approach to start to earn passive income. At a minimum, just start learning. All right. Education is going to be powerful in this new digital era. So let's jump in. I have so many documents and so much juicy information for you guys today. We're going to be looking at some XRPL DeFi development, showing you guys that for a fact they are incorporating this not only on the XRPL, but with partners that Ripple is involved with, so on and so forth, building out these platforms that give us a level playing field. Again, if this is your first CYPRX video breakdown, pause this one, go back and watch the yield playlist on the CYPRX YouTube, and it will answer a lot of questions for you guys. If you're new to DeFi, if you don't know what it is, if you don't know what capabilities your digital assets have, pause this video and go watch that one. But this video is going to freaking confirm that we are seeing a level playing field built out right now before our very eyes, where regular users in the retail space like myself and you listening to this video can literally operate on the same platforms that these institutions are operating on to access real world assets, real estate, commodities, all these things. And it's being built out right now before our very eyes. So just to always show you all documented proof that these things are happening, I posted this out to you guys here where I said DeFi is inevitable. Make sure that you are paying attention. Generating yield with your digital assets will become the new normal. That's going to get repetitive because I'm going to continuously show people that that is happening. This is a document in collaboration with Ilium, DeFi and the Rise of Extensible Finance, TradFi Tomorrow. This was from this year, where they surveyed 300 professional working institutions across financial services sectors in a number of advanced economies, from the UK all the way to Hong Kong. And you can see right there at the top, it says DeFi is inevitable. And if we come over here, it says 66% of TradFi firms are doing something with DeFi. I'm always just trying to show you guys documented proof. I don't like to just have people on the internet, like most influencers, think I'm just making this stuff up off the top of my head based off of opinions. I like fact-based research in the documents. Here's another post before we get into the XRPL developments that says, don't sleep on DeFi. Earning yield on your digital assets, again, will become the new normal. The banks know this. While most retail traders still think that DeFi infrastructure is insecure, and the banks are slowly creeping in, it is again time to lock in. And here you can see this is a post from Pith Network, just reading the highlights, it says, the evolution of modern finance and the infrastructure and the bringing of price of everything everywhere. Signum's bank-grade data will be leveraged to power trading platforms. This will enable more transparent DeFi systems, redefining the global digital economy. This is from 4 days ago, people. Do you see that? Redefining the global digital economy. All right. If we come over here, it says, this is paving the way for a new global digital economy. DeFi with Pith isn't just innovative, it's institutional grade. Now, with the backing of banks like Signum, DeFi's future has never looked more promising. DeFi is not just for early adopters anymore. With partners like Pith and Signum, it is ready for the world's largest market. So I just thought that I'd intro this by showing you guys some more documented proof that this is all happening right before our very eyes. Let's head over to the XRPL Commons LinkedIn profile. If we click on this link, it'll take us over here to this Ledger meetup that's taking place on May 26th. So in a couple of days, depending on when you're watching this recording, that's happening in Dublin. And if we scroll right down here, it says via the first panel that's set to take place after the opening remarks from Adelia Tortman, from hype to implementation, operationalizing institutional DeFi and exploring how institutions are moving from theory to execution, building new business models on DeFi foundations, right? This is, again, an agenda, a link up that's happening from XRPL Commons in Dublin on May 26th. And you can see directly what they're talking about. All right. You're going to be able to join XRPL Commons and Ripple for an exclusive evening in Dublin, exploring the future of institutional DeFi and tokenization. So I'm not only showing you guys in their documents that they're telling you all this is happening, but in scheduled events that are taking place in the near future that this is also happening. Now, if we come over here to a recent post from Zonix, you can see here, they said on their LinkedIn profile 3 days ago, our partner Ripple has just released their latest report, Tokenization Trends in Businesses and Beyond, and it's packed with different insights. Now, I'm going to read some of these insights. I'm going to be playing some video clips in between these insights that I'm going to deliver for you guys from the SEC Roundtable, and I want you to pay attention to key vocabulary. Number one, the key vocabulary that I want you guys to pay attention to, I'm going to show you all in the documents and what they're telling you on stage, is that these things, these DeFi primitives, will be available to both institutions and retail on a level playing field. Number two, we're going to get into a whole entire platform that offers the ability to access, collateral and take out loans and whatnot, and so on and so forth, and generate passive rewards. And you're going to hear them say the same exact thing in the SEC Roundtable. And then they also talked about generating yield on your idle assets 24/7, 365, all around the clock, all the time. And this is exactly what's happening in these documents. So if we come over here, you can see it says Ripple, new value tokenization trends in businesses and beyond. This is from 2025. This is recent and updated information. I'm not going to read the entirety of this to save time, but it says at the top, tokenization is the process of converting physical, digital, financial, and tangible assets into digital tokens represented on a blockchain, and is a part of the effort and has already moved from concept to reality among banks and businesses. The reason why I read that intro right there, even if you already know what tokenization is because it says this is already happening and moving from a concept to reality among banks and businesses. Back to what I posted to you guys, like, look at this, where I said, banks know that this is happening. Most retail traders still think that DeFi infrastructure is unsecure, right? However, banks are slowly creeping in. I'm physically trying to show you guys that documented proof so that instead of being a naysayer like the yappers on Twitter and on YouTube that think that this is all a scam, you become an educated, sophisticated investor in the space that takes advantage of these opportunities. All right. Now, if we scroll right down here, the one key highlight I want to focus your attention on is where it says, short-term treasuries with $2 billion on public blockchains, Archax and Ondo Finance are deploying the XRPA Ledger technology to tokenize money market funds and U.S. treasuries, respectively. These low-risk investment vehicles show promise for higher yields than stablecoins, allowing investors to maximize returns while minimizing risk in their portfolio. That is a huge statement, word for word, what I've been attempting to tell people, why you should get educated in DeFi. You are going to be able to generate yield, passive income in a low risk environment. Yet people, for some odd reason, still think that DeFi is so high risk, but it's because they're not doing the research. They're not paying attention to the regulated entities in this space that are offering DeFi primitives and building out again this new financial infrastructure. So just take a second and listen to an individual representative sitting here in the SEC roundtable talking about, I believe this is Robbie Mitchnick speaking. He goes on to talk about how these opportunities are going to be available to both institutions and retail.
Our tokenization agent in that space. We think tokenization agent is a more suitable term here than transfer agent in this context. And what a stable value yield fund issued natively on a blockchain enables is the breaking of a long-standing trade-off that investors were forced to make between liquidity in terms of a cash asset that could be used in real time for settlement or payments, and access to full yield. In this case, we have seen the enablement of full US Treasury yield through the tokenized yield fund, but through the properties of digital assets that make it possible to convert instantaneously into and out of stablecoins, which function as digital cash, that in effect, the investor no longer makes that trade-off between yield and liquidity and has the real-time efficiency of both. Today, that's accessible just to institutional investors, but we are optimistic that in time, that will become accessible to investors of all sizes and types.
Over time, we are optimistic that this will become available to investors in all sizes and types.
Today, that's accessible just to institutional investors, but we are optimistic that in time, that will become accessible to investors of all sizes and types. And also,
if you've watched previous video breakdowns of ours, we've physically shown you all how these institutions have been making dividend payouts through DeFi primitives for pretty much the past year now, right? Millions of dollars each month, hitting new records every single month. These investors, these larger investors, have been making and generating yield in digital formats through DeFi primitives. This is huge. And he literally just openly stated at the SEC roundtable that this is going to be available for retail and institutions in the future, which goes to prove from someone with valid credentials in the space sitting at an SEC roundtable that what we've been telling you all here at CYPRX is coming into fruition, and nobody can deny that unless you have more credentials than Robbie Mitchnick, who works at BlackRock. You can't deny what he's saying, right? So this is why it's so important to pay attention, because if we come back over here, word for word in this document, it's telling you right here, right? Archax and Ondo Finance are deploying XRP Ledger Tech to tokenize money market funds on U.S. Treasuries, respectively. These low-risk investment vehicles show promise for higher yields than stablecoins, allowing investors to maximize returns while minimizing risk in their portfolios. Moving on, I want to play another video clip real fast before we get into another Zonix post on their LinkedIn profile. If we go back over here to the SEC roundtable, listen to what this lady says about generating yield every second of every single day.
And we're able to break our shareholder record out by increments of the day. We've chosen to use 1 second increments. So, for corporate treasurers who come in and they put money into a money market fund in the morning, but they've needed to pull that because there were unexpected expenses that they needed to cover later in the day, right? They are unable to get any of the interest for that period of the day that they held the money market fund, because at the close, they were not a shareholder of record. With the new way that we're doing this via smart contracts and tokenization, we're able to create an exact record. So if that corporate treasurer held that money market fund for 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 17 seconds of the trading day, they would get 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 17 seconds of the interest. And we pay it out every single day in incremental new issuance of the token, including Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays.
Earning yield every day, including Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays. That sounds so much better than what the banks are doing right now. And this is Sandy Kay from Franklin Templeton. So make sure that you all, again, are paying attention to detail, because this is exactly what we've been talking about here at CYPRX. We are entering into an era where idle digital assets can be woken up, and we can start to earn passive rewards literally every second of every single day, compound those rewards, and build generational wealth. Now let's head back over here to one of Ripple's partners, Zonex, because they posted this, and this is huge. I'm actually most likely probably going to have to do an entire another video breakdown on this, but we're going to wrap this up here because we're already going on 15 minutes. If you all are enjoying this undeniable proof, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. Here at CYPRX, we're not attempting to base our opinions out to you guys. We're trying to show you all that right now we are going through a massive transformation, and it is very imperative that you pay attention to detail. And we're showing you guys documented proof, panel discussions along the entire way. If you all want to learn how we are generating yield on our idle digital assets, head over to CYPRXtrading.com. We'd love to have you on the team. Back to the documents. Zonex, 9 hours ago, posted this. Zonex and New Era Finance, powering the secondary markets for real-world tokens. Keep in mind, Zonex is a Ripple partner, and in their documents, Ripple posted, yield generation capabilities on the XRP ledger. So just keep that in mind. But let's just thoroughly read through this new announcement. This is from May 13th, 2025. People, this is fresh. This is crazy to see. Real world asset tokenization movement is accelerating with over $1.5 billion in on-chain assets ranging from US treasuries and gold to venture debt and private equity. Yet, even as issuance grows, the market still lacks one critical piece: a scalable, compliant secondary market for trading these tokens. That is changing. Zonex, a leading provider of tokenization infrastructure, has enabled New Era Finance to close that gap. Built on Zonex's regulatory grade DICE protocol. That's important because this is going to be available to both institutions and retail, which confirms my point. Back to what I said at the beginning of today's post. Retail traders still think that the DeFi infrastructure is unsecure, right? It's insecure and unsecure. Screw it, right? Check this out. This is crazy that this is happening. Zonex, a leading provider of tokenization infrastructure, has enabled New Era Finance to close that gap. Built on Zonex's regulatory grade DICE protocol and powered by its Completo, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, its compliance engine, New Era Finance introduces a decentralized, non-custodial marketplace optimized for trading of real-world assets, crypto, including security tokens, tokenized commodities, and yield-bearing assets. You all see that right now. Then if we come down here, it talks about bridging the gap between tokenization and liquidity. Then it mentions providing access to top real-world assets, including USDY, USDL, PAX Gold, and it's across 8 different networks. These capabilities are designed to benefit Web3 treasurers. So this is who's going to be able to benefit from this. DAOs, crypto native traders, right? There's your retail traders, and users in emerging markets seeking access to assets and yield strategies previously reserved for only institutions. You guys see that highlight right there. Boom, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. We have been telling you all this. We are operating on a level playing field in the moment right now, where we can have access to yield generation, just like these institutions have had access to for years. Zonex's compliant first infrastructure allows us to focus on product design while ensuring everything we build, every token, every swap meets the highest standard for token security and regulatory alignment. So let's just thoroughly look over this platform. This platform is insane. I mean, it's super smooth. The user interface is nuts. US Treasuries, stable coins over here on the left-hand side, global bonds, private credit, commodities, institutional funds, stocks. And I mean, you can click through all of these things and look at what's available. This is huge. Now, just looking over the docs, this is what I really want you all to pay attention to. So New Era Finance, what is it? New Era Finance, incubated by Uniswap and the Foundation, revolutionizing the real-world asset industry as the definitive secondary marketplace, establishing itself as the premier destination for real-world asset investments. New Era Finance is a secondary market for the new era of finance that offers investors transparency and streamlined access to real-world assets through a comprehensive and secure interface. They're live on 6 different networks as of right now, including Ethereum, Arbitrum Base, Avalanche, Polygon, and Gnosis, with over 200 real-world assets available across various categories, including US bonds, global bonds, commodities, stocks, and currencies. This is massive for anybody with a brain that sees potential for yield generation and honestly, generational wealth to come. This unlocks so much opportunity. Users can schedule, I like this right here, DCA trades, dollar cost average trades on their chosen real world asset portfolio to optimize pricing, even in a low liquid market. We set limit orders via chain link data feeds aligned with the underlying real world asset issuance of redemption prices. This is, I'm not going to fully read that just to save time, but let's just continue down this rabbit hole. So if we come over here, it says New Era Finance provides a non-custodial investment platform that allows users to automatically invest in diversified portfolios of real-world assets, automatically investing, i.e. continuous yield generation automating. The platform leverages Uniswap V4 hooks, time-weighted average market making, and price oracles to enable seamless automating investments with dollar cost average and oracle-based limit orders. We are 110% going to detailistically break down this platform and probably even utilize it in the CYPRX Wealth 28 Club. So if you have no idea what this is, you don't want to freaking expose yourself, and you want to learn this platform in detail and see us risk our capital first on this platform, right? Then again, head over to CYPRXtrading.com. That's what we do in the Wealth 28 Club. We show you how we are risking our personal capital so that way you guys can learn from our trials, our errors, our mistakes, what wallets we're utilizing to connect to these platforms, what assets work the best, so on and so forth, okay? Now, last but not least, I'll end this here and I'll play one more video clip to wrap this up. Why New Era Finance? Well, right down here, it says the target. So their target audience, Web3 businesses raising and holding and managing capital in stablecoins using real-world assets to generate passive and secure revenue. I like that. I gravitate towards that because I want to be the type of investor that turns my idle digital assets, whether it be stablecoins or utility assets or whatever I hold, into income-generating assets. Deegan users. This is going to be available for crypto-native users with real-world assets to de-risk from volatile crypto assets as a store of value, and they're going to be able to utilize this platform for collateral for DeFi protocols or as exchange currencies. Now, I highlighted that term collateral and for DeFi because if we come back over here to the SEC roundtable, just listen to what this individual representative said about collateral.
With me is an important point. We talk a lot about the technology, but what you just talked about financial primitives, and so a point that we talk a lot about is finance is still finance. At the end of all of the conversations around the technicalities of the things that this technology can do, and what this technology and moving assets on chain to be able to be loaned or used as collateral in a pool that it enables a wider range of access to capital. So this is really at the end of the day about facilitating more efficient capital flows by creating these new structures that will create more direct access for individuals to use their assets in ways that today are limited by the intermediaries with which they are currently engaged.
This will unlock new opportunities for users to use their assets in ways that have been previously locked. That is directly coming from Cynthia Lowe from Fidelity at the SEC roundtable, and she's talking about using assets as collateral. And what did I just show you guys? Physical proof that just launched May 13th. Today is May 14th as of time of recording, by the way, so this is fresh. Always keeping you guys ahead of most retail users in the space. Collateral for DeFi, Deegan users, crypto native use real world assets to de-risk from volatile crypto assets as a store of value. Last but not least, right down here to end this, look at what it says. It says building wealth is a habit. We'll end it there. As always, bringing you guys some of the realest information and research. Do me a favor before you hop off here, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. If a mentorship in the Wealth 28 Club DeFi University is not for you, at least do yourself a favor. Go back and watch the yield generation playlist on the CYPRX YouTube. There's over 60 videos, I think, in that playlist, and it'll just kind of unlock your mind and your way of thinking of turning your idle digital assets into yield generation assets in this new era of finance. As always, be cognizant, be aware out there. None of this is financial advice. I'm not telling you guys to go out there and involve yourself with this platform. I'm just showing you all the opportunities that are becoming available to us as everyday average retail investors to expand and grow, keep, maintain, and build our wealth for generations to come. So with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video breakdown.